All right, everyone. Joe Biden is right in the middle of being Al Franken'd right now. This probably knocks him off of his political pedestal. There may come a point at which he has to come out, directly address and say, "Okay, I'm not running for office because I'm so sorry about my checkered history with what my hands do around females." Now, the problem for Joe Biden, he's got manifold issues here. The first, again, is he's an older white dude. In the Democratic Party, old white dudes are no longer welcome anyway on a good day, even if they're stellar individuals and far left like a Bernie Sanders. He doesn't even have that advantage. He's an outcast within the Democratic Party, so his number of allies is going to be a lot thinner, regardless of the fact that he was a fairly well-liked VP under Obama, who's the liberal messiah, now that Clinton fell out because of again, similar allegations against him. But Biden has the additional problem now where you've got multiple allegations. It's not just Flores. You've got 3 other individuals now saying he did the same thing, and we have proof that he does it. The problem for Biden is that we have photographic and video evidence of him acting exactly the way that women have said made them uncomfortable. Now, this is the first circle of Metoo sort of sexual impropriety hell. Of course, level 1 is you haven't raped anyone or sexually assaulted anyone. It's basically you're being a creeper. You're doing weird shit like obscene phone calls. Like Bill O'Reilly's phone calls would fall into that. Number 2 would be like sex assault. Then you have rape, and then you have anything with children. The other problem for Biden is that there is one particular bit of footage in which his hand gravitates lower than the shoulder, involving a child who looks to be no more than 6 years old or something. That's fucking creepy. Legit fucking creepy. I don't see how he politically can survive such a thing if he became the nominee. The thing is, he still appears to be gearing up to make an actual... He hasn't filed the paperwork yet, but when he does, is he going to land like a thud at this point because of this? And it's obvious, yes, the far left that Trump identified, socialists within the party, they are the main ones pushing this. They want him out of the way. They don't want Joe Biden to become the nominee because he's not a socialist. He's just he's what passes for an average liberal at this point within the DNC's structure. Yeah, I want socialism, but not quite as much as these people, so I'm the moderate in the field. It's like really wonky and really weird, which is why the Democrats are having so many political problems right now. I just don't see how he can survive multiple allegations of this kind when it's already been a running joke for several years. Trump tweets out, link in the description, an edited video. Now, guys, just to warn you, this video is edited. Like, people were affixing the term edited to it as though there was any doubt whatsoever that Joe Biden didn't clone himself, come up behind himself, and sniff his own hair in a lustful manner. That makes total sense, dude. You could have fooled me. It was so realistic. No, but Trump tweets out this joke, and it's basically Biden sort of talking about how he comes up behind people and does squishy shoulder thing, which he shouldn't be doing anyway. At least mostly it was with adults. But I mean, it's still creepy. And then, other Joe Biden, photoshopped in, believe it or not, comes up behind him and is like doing the sniffy hair thing. And the thing is, it's been a joke for a long time. Now, Trump has a long track record of making light of these situations. Like when Anthony Weiner got out, he's like, pervert alert, like he's on Twitter, keep your kids safe and stuff like that. Or that, what was the name of that one dude who went before Congress? Was it Barney Frank or something? The dude with the big moobs and shit, and he had like his shirt open, and Trump made the tweet about it being very disrespectful, his nipples protruding, and people have turned that into a meme. Trump is definitely finding his mojo now that the Mueller report is over. By the way, we got to address that separately, because it is true that his poll numbers didn't improve particularly after that. I've got my own explanations as to why that probably is and why you probably shouldn't worry, but I'm sure he would like the opposite to be true. As far as Joe Biden goes, I mean, what are his poll numbers going to be at? It's going to be very difficult. Like, if this were a Republican, by the way, they already would have been thrown under the bus. The thing is, Biden, as the presumptive front runner at the moment, without the benefit of even having gotten into the race, is the man to beat for the Democratic primaries. I'm just looking at the possibility that he becomes the nominee because the rest of the field is packed, even if he loses some of his steam. Let's say he goes down to 25% instead of 30%, which is, I think, a reasonable estimate of the impact that this sort of thing would have on him, even if temporarily. He's got so many opponents that are all on the left that really there's no significant competition for the kind of voting bloc he's going for. I would have guessed that Beto probably would have been more of a hindrance to him, but actually Beto has kneecapped Bernie Sanders. surprisingly, because again, white, male, and has gone further left. He's actually being the equivalent of like Elizabeth Warren politically on maybe the further left end, the further left wedge issue end. Whereas Biden, he's got a clear field. What's his opponent is Hickenlooper. That's within his lane. His main opponent is a dude who might be at 0.5% of support on a good day. It's like the other problem for Biden, as the race thins out, is that because there are so few other people within his voting bloc, he would want like to knock Hickenlooper out really early and maybe like, you know, get Gillibrand's endorsement or something just to gobble up that last 2 or 3 points that he can actually get and hope that the other part of the field stays packed so that he can win most of the states. Going into New Hampshire, like, if he wins New Hampshire, the race is over. He becomes the nominee. Why? Because if Bernie Sanders loses New Hampshire, of all places, he's out. He's no longer going to be seen as viable. He'll probably drop out. He'd probably have to endorse Biden. Biden would win. I mean, he's probably going to win Iowa anyway if he gets in. The problem for him is that he's going to be scandal-ridden by the time he gets there. Like, it's going to be very difficult for the Democrats to wage a national campaign when a major part of their initial campaign was glass ceiling and Trump is sexist. That was a major platform for them in 2016. That carries over in the minds of a lot of like the lay people, the actual lay voters. And to have Joe Biden being their candidate, it's going to be a little bit mysterious. Oh, hi, Democratic Party. You love women's rights so much. Why is Joe Biden fronting the party now? Why did you just... And he's old, too. Like, he'll be 75 years old. And he's not a great speaker or anything like that. Okay, he's okay at it, but he also says weird shit all the time. And he does weird shit. What happens if he gets up on stage and does this during the campaign? Which, I mean, old habits die hard. There's never been another several-year-long period in time that Joe Biden hasn't apparently tried to grope somebody's shoulders and sniff their hair. It's weird. It comes off as weird to people. It's just, and the Democrats will have to explain that. It's just like with Clinton. She didn't want to talk about her all too obvious health issues, and so what ended up happening is that instead of understanding, okay, she was sick or she had pneumonia or something, they kept lying or not talking about it, and so people concocted their own theories that were always invariably worse. It was bad enough to have your candidate fucking faint on 9/11 and get thrown into the back of a van like a sack of potatoes, but then to spend 48 hours dicking around and neither not explaining it or saying falsifiable bullshit about it was way worse. Joe Biden, so far, he's like basically, well, I'll do better in the future. That is not going to fly with the Democratic voters. These people are out for blood. You are a white male individual in your 70s. You're not going to get their support. You have to work. It's an uphill battle for somebody like Biden to exist within the Democratic Party at this point. It's hard enough for Bernie Sanders, and he spent the last 50 years calling himself a socialist. What the fuck is Biden going to do? Hey, by the way, I was Obama's VP. Remember Obama? Remember Obama, the liberal messiah that you love so much? They're starting to jump off of that too. The liberals are eating themselves alive at the moment, and Joe Biden is definitely dinner. That's about all. Peace out.